All hell is breaking loose in Minnesota and across the country as Donald Trump's ICE and Border Patrol Gestapo are engaged in crimes against humanity, as they are engaged in state-sponsored terrorism, torturing, wreaking havoc on peaceful communities across the United States. And now we are learning from a whistleblower letter that was submitted to Congress that Donald Trump's ICE and Border Patrol Gestapo have been ordered not to use judicial warrants and instead to use something called administrative warrants, which basically they generate on their own. It's a total violation of the Fourth Amendment constitutional protection against unreasonable search and seizures. And what the ICE and Border Patrol Gestapo are essentially doing is they're filling out their own form, breaking into homes, ripping people out, whether they're U.S. citizens or not, under the pretext that there are final removal orders, and they are putting people into concentration camps. This whistleblower letter was just made public in the past day or so. It was sent to Congress on January 7th, 2026, from an organization called Whistleblower Aid that represented two anonymous United States government officials disclosing information that is so secretive and so obviously unconstitutional that these whistleblowers needed to go through the highest level of protection for their own identities. This whistleblower report points out how on May 12th, 2025, the acting ICE director, Todd Lyons, authorized ICE agents to forcibly enter into people's homes without a judicial warrant, and instead of using a judicial warrant, using a form called an I-205 form, an administrative warrant. And again, this is the most obvious violation of the Constitution's Fourth Amendment. They sign their own forms, they bust into homes, they disappear people. This is happening in the streets across the United States. And folks, this, as we learn about stories like this every single day. We talked about the El Paso murder of Geraldo Lunas Campos. Remember, Trump's ICE Gestapo said that he died by suicide? Nope. What we now know is that he died by asphyxiation and restraint by ICE Gestapo. Last year, there was at least 30 deaths in detention centers. I believe the amount was much higher than that. We're also not counting the deaths of the individuals who are deported as asylum seekers or deported out. What happens to them when they're sent back to their countries and they're killed there? That needs to be tracked. And this year already, we're at 7 or 8 deaths already at the hands of ICE and Border Patrol, essentially every other day in the streets. And we're learning as well that at these detention centers, like the Whipple Detention Center in Minneapolis, what the ICE Gestapo are doing is after they unlawfully detain people, they undress them, have them totally naked in -1 degree weather. They throw them into the forest and they throw them into the woods, take away their papers, and they either freeze to death or are seriously injured. And we're hearing reports all throughout Minneapolis and St. Paul about people, citizens too, and migrants, just people in general who have been thrown into the woods. And we've documented that with our relationship with Status Quo. I want to give a hat tip to Status Quo. They are on the ground in Minneapolis and St. Paul with their videographers and reporters. It's a war zone there. It's like wartime reporting. They've got JT Sistowski. They got John Farina. Hat tip to our friends at Status Quo. As I've always said, subscribe to our YouTube channel here on the MeidasTouch Network. Help us get to 6 million subscribers. But more important than us, subscribe to the Status Quo YouTube channel and subscribe to their Substack. Our work with them has brought you this exclusive footage that you're not getting anywhere else. Let's talk about that exclusive footage right here. This is what went down yesterday in Minneapolis as ICE violently dragged a U.S. veteran out of her car. Watch what goes down, and then they threatened to tase her because she was there just warning people about ICE's presence. She has a First Amendment right to do this. under the recent court orders in Minneapolis. She has a right to absolutely do this. And watch as the ICE Gestapo break her window, put a taser, rough her up. Watch what goes down. Let's play this clip.
Do not break my fucking window.
You guys got into the John is looking at is a black.
Get out of the fucking Get out of the car. Put the car in park. Get out of the car. Put the car in park. Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
Virginia, TBN.
You know I'm a Marine Corps veteran.
I don't care what you are. You fucking knew I'll fucking tase you. You fucking knew I'll fucking tase you. Get the fuck out of the car right now. Get the fuck out of the car, please.
They yanked me out by my neck. They threw me to the ground. They stomped on me. They pushed my face into the ground. They put the cuffs on as tight as possible to the point where it took 6 agents to try to get them off.
What you talk about the local law enforcement working with the federal government to kind of funnel you in. What was the lead up when they get out of their vehicles, presumably, or were they
didn't get out. They drove their vehicle towards mine until I surrounded mine.
Okay, so they surround yours, and then they come up, they break.
And then the cops went into a parking lot. They pulled off to the side and they watched the DHS and Homeland Security and whoever else it was assault me. And they listened to me scream for help.
Like, what I'm trying to get to is did they say anything to you before they broke the window, or was it immediate?
No, it was immediate.
Immediately broke.
They said, get out of the fucking car or we're taking you.
Had they stopped you at all before that? Had you had any reason to believe that you were about to be targeted before that?
They put their lights on, but they don't have any jurisdiction. As women, we're told to go to a well-lit area where we can make sure that we're safe and we're not going to be attacked by armed thugs. So we were trying to comply with what we've been taught our entire lives as women.
I'm getting the sense of emotion off of you right now. Can you walk me through what are you feeling in this moment?
This is not the country that I gave my life for. I took an oath, and it's the oath that they're spitting on and stomping on. And this isn't Germany. They're Nazis. They're Gestapo. They think that they're above the law. They don't care.
What was your intention when you're out there following them? Are you out there to document what they're doing, to warn your friends and neighbors? Is that that ICE is in your neighborhood? Is that what you were out there to do?
They shot my neighbor in the face this week. That's what I'm out there to prevent.
So you're directly inspired by what happened.
Keith Porter, Renee Good, all of the above.
2026 has just begun, and if you're anything like me, you want this year to feel different. More energy, better focus, faster recovery, just operating at a higher level. But maybe you've already noticed that you just don't have the energy you used to. Struggling with brain fog, slow recovery, or feeling worn down, even when you're doing everything right? Well, there's a reason for that. By age 30, NAD levels drop by nearly 50%. That means I'm there already. And that impacts everything. Your energy, your recovery, your brain function. That's why I've been taking Row Nutrition's liposomal NAD, and the difference is real. Clean, sustained energy, sharper focus, and faster recovery without the crash you get from caffeine or stimulants. NAD is essential for mitochondrial function, the powerhouses of your cells that keep your body energized and your mind sharp. And until recently, replenishing NAD meant expensive trips to a clinic. Row's advanced liposomal delivery is designed to help your body absorb it efficiently. No clinic visits, no crazy price tag. I've been using Row's liposomal NAD for weeks now, and it's just a total game changer, honestly. Pro athletes, trainers, and health experts are making it a staple in their routine because it works. If you want to start 2026 feeling your best, you can try it risk-free with a 60-day money-back guarantee. Plus, get 20% off with code MIDAS at rownutrition.com. Again, that's code MIDAS for 20% off at rownutrition.com. RHO nutrition.com, code MIDAS, MEIDAS.
Here in this next clip, Status Quo speaks with observers of what ICE is doing, and they talk about how medical workers are flagging potential cases where these ICE and Border Patrol Gestapo are releasing naked, injured detainees into the woods, into the forest to basically freeze to death. Play this clip.
From medical professionals that, so you know how safe harbor or safe haven is here to get people who are being picked up like that person?
Yes.
So the people that are injured really badly, or maybe other people too, we don't know how many people, are being taken out into the woods around the Whipple and released in the middle of the night, sometimes with no clothes, always with no phone, if they're brown, with no ID. And it's a death sentence. One of the people had a cracked skull that's been treated. So they're taking the people that they don't want us to know about and they're dropping them in the woods, which I've heard is something that they've been doing with Native Americans for a long time, and we're just continuing that tradition. But that is sickening me right now.
Yeah, absolutely. That is information that we've been trying to confirm here at Status Quo. Some of these harrowing stories, please, if you yeah, we can talk. Elliot, thank you for talking to us out here, and thank you for being a source. We appreciate it.
Next, you have two individuals who interview with JT Satowski from Status Quo. And what they're saying right here is, if you're a Trump supporter, just don't ever talk about the Constitution ever again. You don't give an F about the Constitution if you support Donald Trump, because he's torn that Constitution apart. Here, play this clip.
And I see videos every single day of stuff happening in places that I just drive by. It's unbelievable.
Thomas, I want you to react to the news at hand here. When you hear that the Trump administration is, potentially just tearing up the Fourth Amendment, that ICE agents could, even force down your door if they just have a piece of paper that says they can. What's your reaction when you hear that news?
I'd like to say I'm shocked, but I'm not, unfortunately. And I just want to say, if you support Donald Trump up to this point, never invoke the Constitution. You don't give a fuck about it. Never invoke states' rights. You don't give a fuck about them. You don't fucking care about tyranny. You don't care about libertarianism. You don't give a fuck about any of that. And it's time to admit that to yourself instead of living in fucking delusion. You have no principles.
Why do you need to protect your identities?
Well, you constantly read and see things in the media about all this surveillance technology that they have. Do I think hiding my identity is a necessity at this point? Not quite, but it's a precaution. They've got Stingray. I've seen ICE agents coming out here with cameras recording people's faces. You've got the president talking about retribution. You see it in the news. Look at the subpoenas that were issued to our state and city officials. It's retribution. So, better safe than sorry.
Anything you would want to add to that, Thomas?
Yeah, you've seen in Miami Beach recently, the mayor send the police to somebody's house over a Facebook comment. Like these, a lot of these people are out for revenge. It's been said word for word by our president. So I'd rather be safer than sorry.
At the end of the day, I feel like I have to do something. I'm a local. I want to be down here. I want to see it with my own eyes. I watch channels like yours and Mercado's. I'm so thankful for the coverage. But as a critical thinker, I like to leave some room for hearing people out, because there's a sliver of truth to every narrative. But when you got people calling like Renee Good a domestic terrorist, it's just, there's no sliver of truth. I got to be down here. I got to see it with my own eyes. So there's no room. It's all bullshit. It's totally bullshit.
Next, there's a peaceful protester who speaks with JC Tatowski about how the get out of Minnesota. ICE, just get the hell out of here. Play this clip.
Get out of Minnesota! Get out! Shove on! Get out! God, I hate ICE.
Why did you want to be out here tonight?
To fight fascism. I don't know what else to do except to protest right now. I've been super frustrated by this this lawlessness. I'm disappearing people. This isn't what America's about. We protect our neighbors. I got Scandinavian heritage. It takes a lot to piss off a Scandinavian, but when we get pissed, watch out. We can turn into berserkers.
When did your activism start?
It started the night that they did that debacle in the White House with Zelensky. I thought I walked around just in a rage for a while, and I felt utterly alone. And then I went to my very first protest was hands off. And then I've been to about 6 or 7 in the UP and in Upper Peninsula of Michigan. That's where I'm from, but I got family here, and I plow in the winter. I'm a tree service guy in the summer. So I had a 10-day window of no snow, and I said, I'm going to Minnesota. I'm going to the front line, man. I got to do it. I don't know what else to do.
And next, JT Satowski interviews two other individuals who talk about how nowhere seems safe. You can't go to work without seeing ICE. You can't go to school. You can't go to a doctor. We're scared. We're terrified. This Gestapo is here to inflict torture and terror on these peaceful communities. Here, play this clip right here.
It's completely evaporated, you know, like nowhere seems safe. Even our neighborhood this morning, we were woken up to the sounds of whistles and horns down the street. Yeah, you can't go to work without seeing it. You can't go to school without seeing it. It's all anyone talks about anymore. We're tired. There are bags under our eyes. Our nervous systems are out of whack. Anytime you hear a horn or a whistle or any high-pitched noise, your head turns and you look, and it's, we're tired. We're scared. We're tired. Yeah, I don't know anyone that hasn't had a story to share about a friend getting detained or a neighbor getting taken, or, you know, people reaching out to me looking for help with lawyers and legal counsel. And yeah, I don't know, like, you just stare off into the distance. We brought food, we brought blankets and extra clothes and all that stuff. And I'll admit I'm not prepared to be out in the cold, so I'm kind of happy. But yeah, we're going to get them home. We're going to get them safe. We're going to get them fed. And we're going to strike on Friday. We're going to let people know that we're not going to be bullied. We're not going to keep tolerating this, because it's fucked up, honestly.
And meanwhile, Greg Bavino, who leads the Border Patrol, is whining like a little freaking baby over the fact that he was denied service at a Speedway gas station in Minneapolis. Well, they're not serving me. Yeah, because you're Gestapo. Because you and ICE and your Border Patrol goons are torturing and terrorizing people, Bavino. Anyway, everybody, hit subscribe. Help us get to 6 million. And thank you so much for watching this, and have a good day.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA union made.